Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And in support of that mission, we've been doing these free mentoring roundtables since the fall of 2008. So more than 10 years have gone by. We've done 430 now as of today of these public roundtables, and then there are hundreds and hundreds of private roundtables that go on behind the scenes for our members only. And we've had over 100,000 people participate in these sessions, in the public sessions. So it's become a bit of a fixture in the entrepreneurship ecosystem of the world. Not just Silicon Valley, not just India, not just one particular geography, but we have worldwide distribution. And what has been quite fascinating, of course, when we started, we already had great, brand recognition in the mainstream geographies like Silicon Valley, like many of the mainstream geographies in America, Seattle and Boston and New York and so forth. And of course, we had great brand recognition in India as well. But what has been fascinating is the rise of completely, new geographies like Africa. These days, if you have been attending the roundtables regularly, we see, as you know, we see a lot of African entrepreneurs coming, and I'm thrilled to bits with all this. It's just fabulous to see people coming from all corners of the world where there isn't much available by way of entrepreneurship resources. And I'm also very excited about all the penetration that we have got in the, non-mainstream Indian geographies, like, we've had people coming from Siliguri and Srinagar, all these Himalayan destinations and so forth. So it's really been a fabulous experience to be able to touch you all in such different corners of the world. So the event is being recorded. Every single recording of every single roundtable is available on our YouTube channel, 1M1M Roundtables. You can use this as a learning mechanism. I know there are a lot of students following the program all over the world right now. So you can use this as a, regular learning material. If you miss these live sessions, you can always access them on YouTube. If you are live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M. Our Twitter channels are 1M1M and Stromana. So you can follow either of those, and we publish lots of great content through both channels. And these are the call-in instructions for today's conference. You can, obviously, you can use the public chat or the Q&A to ask your questions during the session. And later on, after we are done with the scheduled programming, I will open the line up for Q&A as well. So make a note. I will put the slide back up later, but definitely participate. This is a roundtable, not a broadcast. We want to hear what you're thinking, what you're doing, what your questions are. So please make it a roundtable and don't just be passive listeners. All right. Well, I am thrilled to welcome Nandini Mansinghka from Mumbai Angels Network, which has been a very early entrant into the Indian entrepreneurship financing ecosystem, a big influencer and a big, high-impact player in the Indian ecosystem. Nandini, welcome. It's great to have you. I'm thrilled to catch up after so many years. Nandini and I last actually saw each other in person back in 2011 when I was doing a workshop in Mumbai, sorry.
Yeah. Been a very long time.
All right, well, Nandini, I will let you introduce yourself and the work of Mumbai Angels Network as a starter, and then we'll dive into the details.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the CEO and Managing Director of Mumbai Angels. And Mumbai Angels is one of the first angel networks in the country. We started way back in 2006. So, we've now been 12 years into the ecosystem, and we started out at a time when angel investing itself was not very well understood in the country. From there, today we have, a large network of 350 members. This is across 7 chapters. So, we are one of the premier, pan-Indian network in the country. So we are in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Goa, Calcutta, Pune, Hyderabad. So 7 chapters, 350 members. We now have a portfolio of about 130 companies, and these are all at the angel stage. So we invest anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000 to up to $200,000 in each startup, and we take it through. So we do not just the initial round, but several of our companies also do the bridge round. So these are all pre-Series A investments. What we started doing, and this is what our core of who we are has been, and it's just recently that we've actually ventured into 3 other verticals, and the first one is what is called the growth capital network. So we realized that there was this gap between the angel funding and when companies were actually being funded by at say Series A and beyond. And what was happening is that because those ticket sizes might not be big enough, you were not finding platforms where these companies could talk to the VCs and family offices. So that's the gap that we are now also filling in. So now we look at companies. So there is this platform, which is the angel platform, and then there is the Series A platform, which you might, as a nomenclature, where we look at funding anywhere between $500,000 to a couple of $1 million. And there the investor base is more on family offices and smaller VC funds. So those are the 2 things that we're doing. The third thing that we've recently launched about 5 months back is an Angel Academy, because what we realized is that as whenever somebody is coming into the angel investing ecosystem, irrespective of their ability to invest, a lot of people will not be able to invest because they don't understand the asset class. They don't understand how to actually go about investing into a startup. So we have started taking those sessions. So, if you look at what you are doing, Shramana, we're actually trying to do the other side of it. So saying you actually start building.
Very necessary.
So that's what we're doing. And we're also doing one very large event in Mumbai on the 27th of February, which is called Beyond. And this is again focused on companies that are raising anywhere, from their Series A and up. So that's again a day-long session where we will get investors in, startups in, and just try and build that melting pot of ideas and interactions. So this is who we are.
So, Nandini, can you talk a bit about the way you work? Like, an entrepreneur wants to work with Mumbai Angels. What would be the procedure, and is it a subset of the angels who are investing, and how do you manage that process? Just give us a little bit of color on the mechanics.
Yeah. So, we receive about 5,000 applications for funding every year, anywhere between 4,500 to 5,000. And these come through several different channels, right? One of our strongest ones are recommendations. So recommendations by members, recommendations by companies that have got funded earlier, and our ecosystem. So that's one. A lot of startups are applying directly. So pitch@mumbaiangels.com is an email where people can write and send us their decks and stuff. And so, and then of course, there is the outreach that we are doing continuously on saying we are there at events, we are there at different forums and trying to understand. We work a lot with accelerators and incubators to try and see that their companies can we look at. So those are the 7-8 types of cases where we look at. Once the company applies to us, or once we get in touch with them, we ask for their deck. That's our first starting point. Saying, okay, here is the deck. Tell us, and we have the standard format, which is it's called the BCA. It's called the business case analysis. We would want to understand from the startup as to, what is the problem that they're solving, why do they think, they are unique, why should we bet on them as a company in that space. And this is done by our internal investment team. So once you clear through that level, we put up the shortlisted companies out on the platform. So right now we're using Cust as a platform, where we put up these shortlisted companies for our investors to look at. So this is a very focused place where we then start evaluating, saying which startup is getting enough interest from our and we look at these members as early adopters. So what's happening is that while you open this up to all 350 members, not everybody is very active online. There would be some, so maybe about 20 to 30% of our member base is going through those pitches. And then based on their interest, we again shortlist to come to our final shortlist. So in any given cycle, our shortlisting is actually anywhere between 1.5% to 2% of the companies that have applied. So what I mean by that is on an annual number, of the 5,000 companies that apply for funding, we look at anywhere between 50 to 70 of them for our members. And once you are shortlisted over there, you would, and then we have these showcases across all our 7 chapters. So these are physical meetups that happen, and you will have anywhere between 20 to 50 to 70 people in the room. These are investors plus guests who've come who are looking to become members with us. And then every company gets to pitch. So it's a half an hour pitch. These are physical pitches that you're making, which is where you're pitching for 15 minutes, and then there's a Q&A, so half an hour, and then there is the networking lunch or dinner that happens where you can interact with the members. So that's where and each company could be showcasing anywhere between 3 to 4 of our chapters, and of course they are open for investment across all. So physically you would go to about 3 or 4, but you would be open for investment across all 7 chapters. And then we start looking at the investor interest level. Depending on the investor interest level is when we start doing the due diligence, the one-to-one calls, and we start moving through the process. And then the book closes or the investment closes when the amount that is asked for is covered by all investors. So typically in each investment we see anywhere between 5 to 15 investors coming in, and each one would be cutting a check of anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000-$30,000.
Okay. And what about sectors? Of course, India has gone through a lot of different cycles already in terms of sector popularity and experiments and so forth. So what are your conclusions, investment thesis around sectors at this point?
That's a very interesting question, and we've also actually we've seen a slight shift in trend over years. So if you look at our portfolio of 130 companies, initially, we were focusing a lot on tech and tech product companies, because I think there was this whole the hypothesis was that we need to look at startups in a similar way as the Valley. But over the last 3-4 years, we are seeing a distinct change in how these are being looked at. And there are some sectors that we see gaining a lot more traction at the Angel network level, and specifically in our level. One is, what you call the India consumer story. So any company that is trying to address the need of the urban Indian, trying to solve issues, and this could be food companies. These are, just food apps. Actually, like for example, right now we've actually invested in a tea company. We've invested in a parfait company. We've invested in a chip in this company. So India consumer story is a big one that we started seeing as a trend. We've also seen a lot of interest in what you can classify as healthcare and life sciences. So health tech, med tech, that's another one that's coming up. And when we say health tech and medtech, we're talking of companies that are solving problems for the Indian consumer. So how to make healthcare accessible to the common Indian. So for example, we've just invested in a company where they actually detect if you have TB or not, tuberculosis or not, just by coughing into the mobile phone. So just by the sound of the cough, you can actually, So and they're using it at a fraction of a cost of what an otherwise detection of something like this would be. And we're seeing several such companies coming to us. So that's the other big segment that we see. And then of course there are these what you would classify as tech. So tech is a big part of our portfolio anyway. So for example, we have a drone company, that's looking at solar panels across the thing. We have a battery company that is that can recharge a mobile phone battery at a fraction of a cost and a time than any other conventional thing. So those are the other bits that we see. So these are the three buckets that we're seeing gaining a lot of traction. Apart from that, we are sector.
Within tech, what is your analysis of the software as a service market? Of course, India has gone very big into software as a service. The VCs have gone big into it, and it kind of plays naturally to India's strength because of such a large software programmer population, and many of them have turned into entrepreneurs, and SaaS is the easiest thing for them to do because they can code and they can acquire a few customers and get moving. So what is your analysis of that segment?
So, from our perspective, we haven't seen too many deals happen in that segment. So it could be because, I think it could be a problem of plenty. That, it might be easier to start a service like that, but you're not being able to actually demonstrate how are you different or how you're actually solving a real problem. That's one of the situations that we see. The other thing is that these companies require a much larger amount of funding than what we are looking at the angel stage. So we haven't seen too many companies come in as software as a service in the recent past, and we haven't really seen too many of them gain traction. So even if you're getting that pie, we haven't seen too many. Having said that, I think at any given point of time, there are at least, of our entire pipe that we have at any given point of time, there are at least, I would say, 50% of companies that are pitching to us in different forms of SaaS and different kind of platform services. It's just that recently we haven't closed any such deals.
Okay. And you mentioned traction. So for Mumbai Angels to be interested in a company, what kind of traction do you want to see? You don't do concept financing, it sounds like.
We would do concept financing. So we won't fund anything which is a paper company. So it's not an idea stage that we are looking at for sure. We would require revenue traction in all cases except for two cases, right? One is where it's a tech product. Then if it's an IP build out, we are okay to say, okay, we'll fund you because we want to work with you through the IP build out journey. And a similar such investment we do where whenever you're looking at a healthcare product, like for example, again you're waiting for the licenses to come in or clinical trials to come in, look at molecule to look at that. Right. So those are the two situations where, like for example, right now we've just invested in a liquid biopsy company, which is finding a newer way to detect cancer through blood samples. So we've invested in that company when it's a preclinical trial stage, and we have funded them to take them through the clinical trial. So these are the two situations or two instances where we would not look for revenue traction. But for all other instances, we will look for revenue traction. And when I'm saying revenue traction, even if the revenue traction needs to be higher if it's a B2C concept or if it's a marketplace concept, and if it's a B2B, then you just need to get one or two, beta customers who have gone along the journey.
Now, as part of your Indian consumer story, what is your position on entertainment? So there is a lot going on in digital entertainment in India. We have companies in our portfolio that are very excited about this digital entertainment opportunity. They have millions of users. So what is your position on that? Yeah.
So I actually have founded and started a company in the entertainment space. So I'm the founder investor of a company which is a B2B content market, so for finished for video. So I see clearly there is a lot of investor interest now in this space. What I have seen is that, for a sector agnostic investor and more importantly individual investor to understand the media and entertainment space, it's a pretty tough ask. Because what happens is that most of the time we find, so as Mumbai Angels, we find that when we bring companies in and who are talking of, advertising-based revenues, they're talking of building IPs, they're talking of influencers, the business model, if you are not a media entertainment investor, you will struggle with it a lot. That's number one. And B, we find a gap between the valuation, the ask from the founder and what the investor is willing to pay for. And we see that gap to be much, much larger in media and entertainment.
I see. So you don't, being in Mumbai, I would think that you would have media and entertainment angels. Is that not the case?
So see, the investors who are putting money in entertainment and media are a different, I would say, a different makeup than people who are actually as angel investors through the regular route. So, for example, you don't really have a media entertainment angel network in Mumbai. So and people are doing the investments, but like for example, like me, when I started this up, or when I'm investing in media entertainment startups, that's a very different set of people. These are people who are from the industry and who are now saying that what else can be done. Because I think it's a very tough segment to understand actually.
It is actually, and especially if you're experimenting with business models that's not straightforward advertising, like straightforward eyeball monetization. If you're looking at other business models like we are, because I'm actually not a huge believer in straightforward eyeball advertising as a great monetization technique. So with our companies, I'm pushing on other more creative business models, and that's, yes, you're right, it's harder to understand and harder to get your arms around. So switching gears a bit, what is your perspective about this whole unicorn phenomenon and everybody chasing unicorns and billion-dollar market opportunities and, billion-dollar valuations? Is Mumbai Angels chasing unicorns?
No, we're not. Look, I think for us it's a mix. Look, we've had unicorns in our portfolio. So InMobi was one of our first successes.
Yeah.
We've had others too. We've had several others, who built it to a certain level. And who have, been bought out by much larger players. So we've had some of our companies being bought over by Twitter, Paytm, those things have happened. But see, our view is that unicorn chasing is, I think it's counterintuitive really. You can actually get caught up in this so much that you actually stop looking at investments that can actually build you a healthy portfolio. So we are of the view saying that you will have to do this continue. So as an investor, you have to do this continuously. You have to decide saying that, look, here is what I'm looking to invest in startups, and then do that over and over again over several years. Unicorn chasing, I think, can be done only if you are a seasoned full-time investor and you are out there and you're a fund and you're saying, look, I'm willing to support a company through its process irrespective of the money it takes.
Yeah.
I don't think all businesses are built like that. That's number one. Secondly, I think a lot of times when we try and push companies to become unicorns, or even if you're not saying unicorns, if you're just saying, the scalability question, if you actually push them beyond what their business model actually can absorb, you will actually have a company that's trying to grow much faster and burn much more without really knowing why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So we see that happen over and over again with our portfolio companies. So,
and that is a surefire way for angel investors to lose a lot of money, because angel investors can't really continue to invest, over and over again. They can't invest tens of millions of dollars to stay in the game and maintain their shares. So if they're getting diluted in this, unicorn chasing game, I think it's a very dangerous way to play this market for angel investors.
So I think what will happen is that even in our portfolio, we do come across, once in a while we'll come across a company that looks like a potential unicorn. And that's when you will finally see a lot of investors coming in, I would say.
Yeah.
But over a period of time, we haven't always seen that thesis play out. So the ones that you actually think are potential unicorns are also the ones that run out of money fastest. Because you said, okay, here is money for 18 months, and then you suddenly realize, oh, it's 12 months and the money is run out. And because you've not really built a steady revenue over that time, or haven't built your product by then, the next round of money is not coming in. So like you said, it's I would be careful on, if you ask me, between scalability and sustainability, I think I am more on the sustainability side of it. But yeah.
So we're on the same page. And as you know, I'm not popular with a lot of the VCs in India for saying what I say. They're pissed off with me because I've been harping on this topic for many years now, and I have a big voice, huge influence. So they don't like the fact that I keep harping on this. So
I think it's yeah.
I was going to say that, did you read this article that I recently wrote, Bootstrapping to Exit?
No, I haven't, but I will.
You may want to take a look at that. I actually think that more micro VCs and angels and angel networks should consider the bootstrapping to exit strategy, and I'm doing a big kind of expose on that right now to look at what's happening in the industry. And if you look at many of the companies that are playing this space, for example, Freshdesk is now Freshworks. This is a company that we incubated many, many years ago, and is one of India's big success stories. They've made 9 acquisitions, and most of them are either bootstrap startups or very modestly capitalized startups, because Freshdesk is just reaching about 100 million ARR, and they have reached the unicorn valuation, so the money is pouring in from investors. They have the capital and the equity currency to be able to do these smaller acquisitions, but they can't go and acquire another $100 million company. What they can acquire are companies for $5, $10, $15, $20 million, and that would, so they have strung together 9 acquisitions to expand their product roadmap, bring new capabilities into their platform. So, and this is happening across the board. I see Zomato is doing that, and in the international arena, if you follow companies like Atlassian, Smartsheet, Qualys is doing this in India in cybersecurity. There are a lot of companies that are following this strategy on the buy side of acquiring smaller companies that are modestly capitalized or bootstrapped. They can't afford to buy heavily venture-funded companies because the valuations expectations are too high, but they are acquiring companies that are reasonable, and that could give investors great returns.
Yeah, we see it in our portfolio increasingly more nowadays, So what you're saying is playing out in our portfolio too. So, for example, our portfolio today is so if you look at it as an index fund, so if somebody invested in each and every company that Mumbai Angels has been with, so today we are at a IRR of about 31%, which is much better than whatever most other funds would be out there. And we are not picking and choosing, right? We are out there saying, listen, here is a platform. We will look at companies that are coming. We will invest, and we will ensure that they're taken care of as a portfolio and positive exits through and through. So completely agree to what you're saying that, I don't think the idea is to keep chasing unicorns, keep pumping in money. I think companies can be built in frugal, with a lot of discipline. And
focus on sustainability, focus on customers' revenues and profits to become sustainable, and then finding a reasonable exit that gives everybody good return.
And most importantly, don't run out of money till the next round comes in.
Running out of money is death. You can't die and be successful. You have to survive to be successful. All right. Well, Nandini, that was great catching up with you, and let's keep in touch and maybe do some stuff together, actually.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was great being here.
Thank you for coming.
And, so like I said, if there are people who are listening, and if you think that there are companies who would like to raise money from us, we can write to pitch@mumbaingels.com. We would be very happy to look at the pitch.
Excellent. All right, folks, we're going to switch now. Thank you. We're going to switch now to the entrepreneur pitch session. Let me set a bit of context and expectations. This is a safe working session. You don't need to feel nervous. You don't need to feel defensive. We're on your side. So just, come and discuss your issues freely, and we will try to help you along. If you may disagree with the feedback you get here, that's fine too. It's your company. You will decide what strategy you want to follow, and that's entirely your prerogative. Just keep in mind that what the feedback you're getting is based on a lot of experience, so consider that feedback. One thing is true, that not all businesses can raise money, not all businesses should raise money, and raising money doesn't guarantee success. That's something you have to acknowledge. All right, so we're going to start today with Lance Troh as the first presenter. Lance, please unmute your line and come tell us what you're working on.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Lance Troh. I am the founder of an online marketplace. It's called Ownkicks, and I'm going to give a little introduction about the marketplace and what I think we may be up to in the future in terms of our e-commerce. So Ownkicks, as I mentioned, is the marketplace to buy and sell shoes and sneakers. Also, this is based on my personal experience. So someone buy a shoe from online. Sometimes it turns out to be fake. So the goal of Ownkicks is to create a marketplace that is smooth, simple, and secure. And also for entrepreneurs to also provide exceptional experience for their customers. And we aim to provide low fees as well as high customer service. And I like to consider that we are the only marketplace that encourage multi-channel selling, because big businesses do the same thing. So we think consumers should also consider multi-channel selling. Next slide. So as I mentioned, our customers are our user. I would like to say our shoes and sneakers lovers. This is based on feedback. They want something that is freer. They want to earn income, protect against scammers, money back guarantee, the ability to shop around. And this has been based on behavior, consumer buying and browsing behavior, that people log on multiple sites before making a purchase, and also low fees. Next slide, please. This mostly catered towards businesses that want to create that exceptional customer service experience. We also want to create trust and also want to feel respected. So I learned over the course that those who buy most expensive sneakers, sometimes it brings a sense of being respected if you have this brand with you and so brand. the value of Ownkicks. So what we did, we listened to what the customer wants, and we partner with a shoe expert whose job is to verify that a slinger listed on Ownkicks is 100% authentic. We only allow pay partnership as payment preferences, or a user can create an account using a Facebook login information, or they can create a new account. We also make it a little controlling, meaning that not anyone can just log in and then post a slinger online. So you have to be verified, and part of that verification process is for the seller to connect a payment provider. And I think the coolest part about the marketplace is the ability to search from the homepage. You don't have to go to the back section. If you're looking for a Jordan, for example, you just type in Jordan and your location. If it's something show up within your radius, it will come up. Next slide, please. So market segmentation. Now, the shoes, the industry is a lot. There's a lot of buying. There's projected growth within the slingers consumer segmentation. So in 2017, there was about $74.7 billion, spent within the market, just those who purchase shoes. Purchase sneakers, and this includes all athletic footwear. So the increase in health awareness, demand for technology, and active lifestyle will contribute to the growth within the market. And this is based on a survey conducted. 45% of 97 respondents said they own more than 26 pairs of shoes. And this is also most interesting when I read is that slingers is a form of art. So sometimes owning a pair of slingers is considered a form of art, some sort of, like I mentioned, some sort of respect. And people will pay money to buy shoes that are expensive. Next slide. E-commerce grew by 18% in 2018, and it's expected to grow up to, and it is expected to continue to grow. And in 2022, we expect our marketplace platform to provide about $40.1 billion. Next slide, please.
Your platform will provide $40.1 billion in 2020?
No platform. Thanks. The marketplace in general, like the e-commerce marketplace. And also, this was based on an article. So in 2006, shoppers did half of their purchases online through e-commerce website. That could be Amazon or eBay or all of the big players out there. And a survey in 2017 cited that 75% of Americans have bought secondhand items for online. So the resale of slingers is also going to continue to grow as well. The new development, the brand new set of slingers on the market. Our customer acquisitions right now, I'm the only one who runs the company. This is a little bit difficult, but I'm part of online social groups through Facebook, like buy and sell groups, and also engage with entrepreneurs on Instagram, mostly those who sell on Spotify, trying to have them consider multi-channel selling. I engage on Twitter. I use social media, Facebook and Twitter, to promote the business. Also been using Google Apps as well, asking people to share the business with their friends and family, offering a free promotion, and working with business influencers. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening. There are some key issues that we need to work through here.
Okay.
I like what you said about this in particular. In 2016, shoppers did half of their e-commerce spending through marketplaces, and this could increase to 2/3 in 5 years. So I think what this is actually speaking to, this trend, what it's speaking to is the fact that the millennials, the younger consumer population, don't have a lot of money. They want to be stylish and so forth, but they don't have a lot of money. So the whole used goods marketplaces trend is big. We see that in clothing especially. We see that quite a lot. Rent a Runway and all that are doing very well. So I think your core concept may actually be fine, an interesting concept. you're going to need to bring people on who can give you inventory to work with. I think the problem that you have here is that you don't have inventory. So it's getting customers is not going to work until you have inventory. So there are strategies of trying to get inventory. Let me try to answer your challenges here. Facebook Marketplace is zero commission. Yes, that's definitely going to be a challenge. Asking businesses to join a marketplace that is not well known. Usually, this is an issue with all marketplaces, but usually people crack this by going to the sell side first. So we need to create sell side strategies for you to be able to bring inventory on. This is what I was just talking about.
Okay.
So these 2 points, your second and third point, are exactly speaking to that. Funding for mass brand awareness campaign, you're not fundable at this point. You have to do a lot of work before you will become fundable. So right now, don't even think about funding. You're going to need to put one foot before the other and get this thing, moving before anyone will touch it as an investor. Time and team members, you run the business yourself. Friends and colleagues provide strategy and ideas. Well, we are fine with solo entrepreneurs where necessary. Using contractors, using people who can contract for you from Upwork is a very reasonable strategy. A lot of our entrepreneurs do that. We do that ourselves, so it's not a problem. It can be done. Lack of a mentor, this you can fix by if you really want to work with 1Mby1M, you will have full mentorship through the program. You have a full-time job, school, and family. Well, we do support bootstrapping with a paycheck, so we don't have a problem with that. Again, we have entrepreneurs who are doing that. The business metrics are going to change as you start following the right practices and doing the right things to grow your business. So, yes, of course, you have 55 registered users now, and that is where most of the strategic work is going to happen. So your challenges, to the extent that if you want to work with us, we can address some of these challenges, but they're not unsurmountable challenges.
Okay. All right.
Okay? So if you hang on, I will explain later on in the program how to use the 1Mby1M platform to get mentorship and to get, to learn what you need to learn. We do have quite a lot of marketplace case studies, and we have, marketplace is a very common e-commerce business model. Lots of entrepreneurs are building marketplaces. So in principle, there should be no problem with learning how to build a marketplace following proven strategies. So it is done. It can be done. How should you brand your business? I can't answer this question off the top of my head. I have to work with you to figure out what are we doing. Yeah, and as I said, I already answered most of your questions, I think.
Yes, you did, yeah.
Okay. All right. So hold on. I will explain to you how to use the program in a bit. Okay, Kemo, you're up next.
Good morning. It's still morning my way. Can you hear me all right?
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yes, so my name is Kemo. I have a company called Emerge Collab, and it is an open, safe, supportive space for underrepresented founders to learn, create, work, and flourish together. I am still working through the strategy phases. I am in the process of bootstrapping to acquire a building for this location. My target customers are founders who are at-risk youth, women, re-entering citizens, immigrants and refugees, vets, retirees, and Black and brown people. And the pain point is most of these innovative spaces don't have any participation for minorities involved in them. They've emerged as popular strategies to support small business ventures, and they're designed to address the networking, education, and resource challenges that all entrepreneurs face. And all these challenges are most acute for underrepresented creators, suggesting that these types of institutions could have the greatest of these minorities. The impact we have the greatest on these minority-owned ventures, yet the percentage of participation in such places and programs by these minorities is dismal. Next slide, please. And the eMERGE CoLab holistic approach to business, community, and city engagement will position us as a leader in supporting overlooked and ignored founders by addressing the 4 types of challenges our research suggests are at the root cause of preventing inclusion and diversity in entrepreneurial development organizations. And that's recruitment, selection bias, program design, and culture. And we seek to address those by expanding recruitment and solution networks through diverse leaders and partners. Case in point, create diverse selection committees and adjust the selection process, and intentionally design programs for underserved entrepreneurs, and create an inclusive yet still thriving culture. Customer acquisition. Our customer bases operate in private but ill-equipped silos that typically fly under the radar because they're usually in their underrepresentation in the people who are participating in those groups. It's indicative of the larger trend. And since eMERGE CoLab is a space that's ran with the model that's for us, by us, or FUBU, as some people are familiar with the acronym, the narrow degrees of separation affords us the direct access to large pools of potential clients. The go-to market strategy that I've personally been doing is primarily through marketing to and cross-partnering with several related organizations, NSB, the National Society of Black Engineers, Dayton Young Black Professionals, Minority Business Partnership, which is an extension of the Chamber of Commerce here locally, Central State University and Liberal Forest, which are historically black colleges and universities, and so on and so forth, as well as events that are lacking the safe, innovative space and supportive services for their founders and contractors to thrive, and then connecting the dots to provide something that is simply is non-existent. Can't see the bottom there.
So, Kemo, have you got a group of founders already in your co-working space?
So I am in the process of bootstrapping the purchase of my building because I share the same thought process that you do, in that, I don't really believe in chasing funding. I don't believe in trying to get grants. I don't believe in, really asking anybody to put money into it unless I've invested into it wholly myself initially. So I'm at that phase where I'm actually about to acquire the building, and I've already been going to a lot of these events, with these different groups that are centered around, underrepresented professionals and founders. However, they all have the same problem in my local community, which is they really don't have anywhere that's like a common meeting ground. We have like one black-owned coffee shop, and that's really it. We have one space that's like a quasi-incubator. It's not really, because it's focused on really white man in defense technology, and it's the only type of innovative space right now in my city, because it's a smaller city in Ohio. So it's just lagging the general, popular trend of these innovative spaces existing, throughout the locale.
So, the things that we can offer you is we have all the pieces that you need. We don't have any space, but everything else that you need to run an incubator or to train lots of people in entrepreneurship, we have it as long as it's in technology and technology-enabled services. So if you're trying to train technology entrepreneurs, that is something that you could use the 1Mby1M incubator in a box for. We kind of came up with the 1Mby1M incubator in a box to cater to some of these kinds of requests that we were getting, where people are trying to cater to, as the 99ers, as you call them, who are being rejected by most of the incubation and acceleration ecosystem of the world, and we are able to cater to them, and we are able to, be inclusive. So inclusive is very much a part of our philosophy, and we are able to partner with whoever wants to partner with us on that note. Maureen, can you share with Kemo the Incubator in a Box link so that he can take a look at it?
So I did prove that. I've been through the entire website. I've watched almost all the videos, not the private or the public roundtable discussion videos, but all the other videos, like who are the 99%ers. Like, I've really dug into all of the media and section of your page. So yes, I am that's why I made a comment earlier, case in point of, partners, diverse partners and service providers.
Okay, so what can I help you with right now? What are you asking for?
So my biggest question that I was going to ask you was, and I didn't put it on here, I just realized it, and I wanted to ask you when I first came to your site, you said it's for technology and technology-related companies, but are they not basic concepts that can be applicable to non-tech-based companies? Because I know that there'll be a lot of underserved founders who may not be in tech, but, they still have, amazing business model nonetheless.
Yeah, so you can do that for those kinds of companies. We don't do it, but I don't see why somebody cannot do what we are doing for those kinds of companies who are not technology businesses. You can certainly do it, but all I can tell you is that 1 million by 1 million is a very, very challenging project. We have been doing this now for. This is our 9th year in business, so we started in 2010. And long before that, actually 5 years before that, I started my blog, which gave us the community into which we launched 1 million by 1 million, and we grew from there. And today we have a community of 500,000 people around the world. But starting from scratch, it's going to take you many, many years to do something like what we are doing. And you just have to be prepared to put in that kind of time, energy, money, all of that to be able to sustain something of this caliber.
Yes, so my co-founder in this, he actually ran a co-working space down in Nashville for about 3 years as the director of operations, and he has his master's in urban planning and development. So I'm kind of the visionary and the guy who's bringing the money to the table, because I'm also a real estate investor and I'm flipping houses and doing, speculative investment on that side to be able to bootstrap this on my own, so I don't have to try to take so long to do it. And then also another really good angle that I have here in my city is our city is renowned, in the real estate investor community for the price of residential and commercial properties. So you can get properties in my city for prices that are unheard of in other small, medium-sized cities. So I'm kind of using that advantage. It was just a blessing. I was born and raised here, and I stuck around.
I'll tell you one thing, Kemo. You have the perspective that real estate is what constitutes incubation, and that is a completely flawed perspective. Real estate does not constitute incubation. And I have lots of writing on this topic. There's a Harvard Business Review article that I wrote many years ago, probably 7-8 years ago, on this topic, that incubators think real estate is incubation, and that's a completely flawed perspective. And I think you have that perspective, and you need to correct that perspective. Right?
I don't understand why you say I had that perspective. I'm not clear on that.
Because you just told me that you're thinking that the commercial real estate is what's going to make this successful. I think real estate is a very small.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm flipping houses to be able to bootstrap acquiring the building to get all this started, so I don't have to go and ask anybody for money.
But you just said that you can get properties at a very, very reasonable price, and that's going to give you a leverage in your city. But I really don't think that property is what makes incubators successful. That's all I was commenting on. Anyway, I think I've given you some comments, and I need to move on to the next two presenters. So we can do more Q&A after I'm done with the other two presentations, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Jeff, you're up next.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, so thanks for having me. I did happen to read your article that you mentioned about bootstrapping, and it inspired me to get on these and obviously speak with you today. So jumping right into it, Garrett Gold Search Consulting is the business name that I think I'm going to go with. Very early stages here, obviously with URL coming soon down below. Value prop is pretty straightforward. A consulting basis, guarantee my clients to have, a couple of offers that I can help them with based on sales, technology, and service, and finding the best partner for them.
What kind of clients are we talking about?
So we were talking about integrated software vendors, so ISVs or independent software vendors. Most of them are going to be cloud-based with a SaaS model. A lot of them will be card present, such as restaurant, retail, practice management softwares, professional service. Those are kind of the face-to-face ones, and then there's a whole slew of B2B e-commerce, regular e-commerce, and a lot of diversified things that are card not present. But nonetheless, most all of them will be SaaS-based companies that will need integrated payments. They'll either already have it and they'll be with a provider, or they will be, a startup or just don't have it yet and are looking for it. So those are the target customers I have.
What is the value proposition? I mean, so far what I've heard in the first couple of slides, I'm completely confused on what is it that you're doing.
Yeah, so basically in the market, in the payments landscape, right? So these software companies have to go and find a payment provider. The payment providers are very good at certain things. None of them are very good at everything. So it's a lot of problem solving. So for the ISV, for the software vendor, they don't know a lot about payments, or most of them don't know much at all or any.
Jeff,
yes.
Stop, Jeff. Look at this slide. This is your first slide. Is there the word payment on the slide anywhere?
No.
Why? Why not?
I didn't want to lead with it just as a value prop for general customers. My customers for the value prop would be the ISVs.
One, two, three, four, five, 6 sentences, 6 lines of text says absolutely nothing.
Okay. Understood.
So, I mean, from a pitch point of view, so far it's a terrible pitch. You need to, I'm trying to work with you and extract what you do. So are you trying to help SaaS providers find the right payment?
That is correct. The best fit for them based on multiple needs. Hello? I can't hear you. I'm sorry, can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear anybody. I can't hear you. Gotcha.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, Jeff, I don't know where we lost each other. So what I was saying, I tried to do an elevator pitch based on what I heard you say. I don't know if you heard me. So I'm going to start there and try to say what I think you're doing, and you tell me if I've got it right, okay?
Okay.
So if I understood you, you were saying that you will help, as a consultant, you will help independent software vendors who are doing SaaS products to find the right payment partner. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct.
Okay. So then why do we need all these slides to say this? What I would like you to do what I would like you to do is to listen to the recording when Maureen publishes the recording, and then just capture what I said and make that your first slide. That's your elevator pitch. That's your value proposition. That's your leading slide.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So now, and then the rest of it you can develop from there. Your sales plan. You need to. So how do you find companies that have not launched yet and are trying to do SaaS products, SaaS businesses? That is the question that you're going to, in the customer acquisition, that is the question that you're going to need to ask. So aggressively recruit via social networking. Again, you have to be very specific. Where do these people hang out? People who are trying to build SaaS companies and need help, where do they hang out? Just in social media and at large, you will not find these companies efficiently.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the majority of the companies I have will have existing partners, and they're going to be probably unhappy with those partners from a technology or revenue standpoint or needs standpoint. But as far as the startups go, that is a difficult space. The only thing that I know ought to do that I've thought of is to get associated with as many incubators as I can, because a lot of those companies are going to companies like Stripe, because the development people are just pushing that way because of the ease of the API.
I think the SaaS companies that you want to consult with are very savvy. They are, companies like Chargify and the AuthorizeNet and all these stuff that we use are very, very well known and well understood in the SaaS communities. So I think I'm not completely convinced that what you're proposing to do is going to work very well. What I
Authorize.net would be a partner of mine that I would have the software companies integrate to their gateway.
I understand, but what I'm saying is the SaaS companies already know about Authorize.net. I think you're giving SaaS companies a lot less credit than they deserve. People who are savvy enough to do a SaaS company can figure out that AuthorizeNet is a good payment provider, gateway provider. Because it's not an easy thing to do a SaaS company. And people who are going to be doing successful SaaS companies can figure that bit out. That's my point. They're not going to pay you big dollars to consult for them. I'm not convinced about what you're proposing to do that this will be successful. I would suggest one thing to you as a piece of advice is I think you should train yourself on how to build a business. And I think that will help you come up with another idea that you may want to execute on, and that is a better idea, a more successful idea. And if you hang on, I will explain a little bit later in the program what your options are to do that. But I think this idea is not going to fly. Okay? Can you guys hear me, or am I lost again?
We can hear you. This is Reena. Can you hear me?
Okay. Now we lost Jeff. All right. Well, Reena, you're up next. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So the pitch that I have today, which I'm a little bit unprepared because when I sent my slides in, I wasn't exactly planning on pitching, but I will do it because I know what I'm talking about. The product that I'm going to discuss today with you is called Visualyser, or at least that's the brand name that we're going with. Next slide, please.
Reena, where are you based?
We are based in Northern Virginia, right outside DC, in Herndon, Virginia, to be specific.
Okay.
And just as a background about myself, I've been in this industry for 23 years. Our company has been around for 9 years. We are a services company now, augmenting our services with automated solutions. And so Visualyser is an outcome of a gap we identified in our industry's work process. There's a severe gap, and so we built this product to serve our own company and then realized that there is a marketplace for this. So, sorry, go back to the previous slide. So let me just give you a brief understanding of the product itself. It's a SaaS-based tool that uses algorithms to contextually analyze the different statements of work that are released by the federal government. We operate, by the way, in the federal government space. We work with federal contractors. So the government releases these various RFPs, requests for proposals with statements of work. And then on the other side are the company capabilities. There are lots of tools out in the marketplace today that do keywords matching, but none that are doing contextual analysis. So what happens is they try to do apples to orange comparison, or they say, well, it says program management, we do program management. They make a bid decision, and they start investing their bid and proposal funds on these opportunities, only to realize that that program management that the government is asking for is not what we do, or it's not the company's capability. So they've spent all their time, money, efforts, and then they end up dropping the opportunity or not pursuing it any further. So it's a huge investment or a loss to the company at that point. So
what I like, Reena, from what I've heard so far is that it's a very focused problem that you're solving, and that kind of focus is something that we are very much in favor of. So I'm curious to hear what more you're going to say, but let me just start you off with that endorsement.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Gives me a little more confidence. I'm not shaking anymore. So I'm going along with the slide platform or the framework that you had provided. What are the identified pain points that we're trying to solve here? The cost of doing business is increasing for the government contractors. There's shortage of skill sets, so whatever is available is very expensive. However, the revenue coming in from government funding is going down. So there's a constant need to drive down cost of doing business. And the solution there is to get away from human work, try and automate some of the processes so they can drive down their BNP costs. There is a lot of subjective analysis or subjective decision-making that's happening in the industry. The companies say, oh, I think we have these capabilities. I think we did similar work for the Army. We did similar work at the Air Force. So it's a lot of I think, but there's no objective. Tell me by, what past performance of mine is relevant to the requirement and by what percentage.
What is BNP?
Bid and proposal cost. The cost of identifying the lead and submitting a proposal, waiting for award is next. So the initial cost of doing business.
Okay.
Go back to the previous slide, please. The other problem that our tool is or does solve already, because we're using it already in our business, is we are getting away from the institutional memory of, I think, where people are saying, go ask that program manager. We know that his program does similar work. That program manager may have left the brand new program manager who does not know his program well. So there's a lot of institutional reliance on what the capabilities are. And the most important one is gross underestimation of how much it costs to actually build a proposal. Companies underestimate their cost by 2 to 1. They think we'll spend $10,000 in the proposal, we're going to put it in. They get going only to realize that in order to really win this contract, they have to spend a lot more money. So it's better for them to start with the right leads that they have a chance of winning, and we give them that objective decision-making information by doing contextual analysis of 2 data points. So our customer acquisition strategy, how do we plan to, this is our current plan, is building the tool and being able to provide an executable on private clouds. We have approached several large defense contractors through our network just to test what they feel about it. We know that there is excitement.
Hold on, you're selling to the government agencies, not the contractors, right?
No, we are selling to the contractors, not the government agencies.
But you need I thought your proposal is how to evaluate contractors as opposed to how to bid for the projects.
Right. The product is used to evaluate which leads should I even pursue.
Oh, I see.
Before I even select a lead to pursue, I want to know how well my capabilities match the requirements so that I pick the right leads to go forward. Previous slide, please. So these are the various methods that we believe we can sell the product, and the reason that we have broken it out this way is the market is pretty diverse. The larger companies want it in their private cloud. They don't want to share their pipeline or what leads they're looking at and what they're analyzing. They don't want to share it on our public cloud. So it would be on an annual subscription basis, but in a private cloud. But then there are the mid-tier and small companies who have the same requirement but cannot afford or don't want to spend on a private cloud license. So we want to be, we want to have them or give them the ability to come pay by the drink, so to speak. And we have tested that model of pay by the drink just to see how, where our price points should be, what is the market willing to pay for a report such as ours.
Okay.
And so the slide that you're looking at are customer validation. How many customers, there are some metrics that we have pulled here, and I know we are still working on this is where I actually need advice on how, how do we come up with our addressable market? I know what it is, but how do I articulate that is the challenge that I'm facing right now. But we are using this product internally as part of our service offering. Proposal Helper, which is our company provides proposal writing services to government contractors. So when they come to us with a lead, we actually run these reports and educate our client on whether they should continue with the bid or not. And that has made us an invaluable partner for these companies. We also actually sold it as a report. We had a few test clients who were willing to pay for this and say, okay, fine, run a report for me and we'll pay. We charged them $1,500 for it. They paid for it, and now they keep coming back. They continue to ask us for this report, and they validated actual manual reading and validation of the metrics that we were providing them, and they reported an 85% accurate analysis. So we know that our algorithms work. We know our tool works. We want to be able to go out and get investors in to help us now build out a much larger and more robust platform.
Yeah, but you have to show investors what is the business, and right now the business that you have validated, investors generally investors don't invest in concepts. Very few investors invest in concepts. Mostly they invest in a validated business. So the business that you have validated right now is this $1,500 per report. So one of the questions I would investigate is what is the TAM, the bottom-up TAM analysis of the $1,500 per report business. And then we have to come up with a strategy, a go-to-market strategy of how you can get the companies to buy your product and so on and so forth. You have to get a few customers. You have to, this is not what you have here is not an investor pitch. So you're going to have to create an. The thing that I would, if you were working with us, the first thing I would make you do is to do these kinds of analysis and create that investor pitch so that I can decide whether this is fundable or not. What is the TAM? What is the go-to-market strategy?
So
what is the TAM?
Can we go back to the previous slide for just a moment, please? So if you look at the gray text, and I did not bold this very intentionally because these are not, scientifically researched numbers, but USA Spending is a government website that reports every contract awarded and every amount awarded. So in 2018, government fiscal year, 4.5 million contracts were awarded just in fiscal year 2018. The current industry trend is that for every contract, a company needs to submit at least 9 proposals before one contract is awarded. And that's if they've done their homework properly. And the funnel to get to those 9 leads that they're going to submit proposals for is about 10x. So out of those 90 leads, they would down select 9 and bid on 1. And so that's how the market is working. So to analyze that many opportunities or leads that the government is putting out, there is we know that there is a market out there, but we are continuing to develop the product. This is not a paper company. We already have a beta of the software, and we're bootstrapping and continuing because we know that there is a demand for this. It would speed up our process.
I think you have a lot of pieces already in place. You're going to have to package this up right, both for customers and for investors, so that you can sell with a high velocity. And if we come up with a business plan, an investor pitch that feels like it can be funded, then something that investors can get behind. But neither of those exists at the moment is the problem.
Okay. Well, I look forward to working with you to make that happen.
Yeah, happy to. And I think the beginning is great. So I think you have the material here. We need to package them right, and that can be done.
Okay. That's encouraging.
Right. Very, very good. So I think you do have something. That's clear, but you just need to work it out how to pitch this to both the constituencies, investors, and customers. All right. Folks, if you like what we're doing here in 1 Million by 1 Million, please bring serious entrepreneurs into the program. And the word serious is in bold because it's very, very difficult to build a really great business. And it takes years, it takes enormous amount of hard work and so forth. It's not a fly-by-night thing. And you have to be committed to want to do that kind of, crazy stuff. Being an entrepreneur is not for sissies. Everything resource-wise from 1 Million by 1 Million is at 1Mby1M.com. You will find a blog that is terrific. If you just follow the blog, you'll learn a lot. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is available on Amazon. That's 12 volumes, and there's a set of case studies in each volume. 12 to 16 case studies, and you can learn from that as well. Again, it double-clicks down on particular topics. These roundtables happen every week, 430 roundtables as of today. Over 100,000 people have attended. You can come and work on your business here. Our full acceleration program is 1M by 1M Premium. That is a $1,000 annual membership fee. We give you extensive methodology through an online curriculum, and we provide you project-based guidance through private roundtables, similar to this one, but the private roundtables are a lot more intense, and you have the curriculum that benefits you in that the tandem, the coupling of the curriculum and the roundtable mentoring is very effective, and we've developed business after business in this mode. There is business development help in where we have contacts. We introduce you to our contacts. And if and when you're fundable, and we will help you through that process of becoming fundable, getting your investor pitch together and so forth. If your business lends itself to it, we will introduce you to investors. So all of those are viable options. We have extensive media relations. Our own clout in the media is substantial, so that's another offer that you have through the premium program. I suggest you go look at the 1M by 1M self-assessment on the website, where we ask you to answer questions that investors would typically ask you. This is a great strategic planning questionnaire, And you should ask yourself these questions in the quest to figuring out what is, how well your strategic plan is put together. This is what you need to look at. These are the questions that you would need to answer. If you get stuck on any of these questions and you don't know what it means, chances are you would have methodology gaps. This is the easiest way to solve that methodology gap is going to 1M1M Basic, which is our curriculum-only option. And this is something I think, Jeff, you would find very useful to study the curriculum and really get some framework and structure around your learning on how to build a business. All of you will find it useful. If you're trying to do this, Reena, you'll find this useful as well. But I think in your case, where you are right now, you probably should go into premium straight away because you're going to need coaching as well. Jeff, you're earlier in the process. You can just go to basic, and that may be a good start for you. So dig around on the website. There's tons of information about premium, basic. There's FAQs, video FAQs, description of the curriculum, and so on and so forth. It is a case study-based program. So everything that we teach you is backed up by case studies of how people have done it to become successful. We have over 1,000 case studies and relationships with these entrepreneurs who have been successful. Hundreds have built unicorns, another 400 plus have built venture-funded companies, 400 plus have built bootstrap success stories. So all of that is available in the curriculum and in our network. The methodology is lean, capital-efficient bootstrap startups, and the philosophy is bootstrap first, raise money later. So, Reena, I think you're doing a very nice job of the bootstrapping phase. So I think if we can figure out a way to frame this in a way that investors can consume the information and can buy into your investment pitch, you are in line with this philosophy. That's pretty much it. Going forward, I am traveling next week, so we do not have roundtables next week, but February 14th, 20th, 28th are the 3 next public roundtables. We also have in-person meetings at Cafe Boroni in the heart of Silicon Valley in Menlo Park, not far from Stanford University, not far from Sand Hill Road. The next 2 are February 13th and February 27th. If you're in Silicon Valley or are visiting, you're welcome to come there. And I'll see you. Last night we had a very nice one. And that's it. We have some time for questions. You're welcome to dial in, or you can also use the public chat or Q&A to ask your questions online. And while you're doing that, let me introduce you to Irina Patterson, who's on our team and who will be happy to answer any questions you might have about the program. Anybody? Questions, comments? No questions. Carnelia Ajasin is asking what makes an incubator successful. There's actually an article that we're going to point you to. Hang on, let me find the piece and share it with you. Then you can get a clear answer to what you're asking. 1 second. So look in the public chat. Carnelia, I just put in a link to an article called 15 Questions for Managers of Technology Startup Accelerators. And that pretty much gives you all the success parameters of a startup accelerator. Anybody else? Any other questions? Lance, you have a question? Please go ahead. You can type in your question, or you can ask your question if you're still dialed in. You probably are not dialed in still. So go ahead and type in your question, and I'll pick it up from the public chat. Anybody? Any other questions, folks? So when I was talking to Nandini earlier, I mentioned this Bootstrapping to Exit article. Maureen, you may want to share that article link in the public chat as well for people to refer to. It's an important article. Lance, you're sending me private messages. Your question is the payment of $1,000 a one-time payment? It is an annual membership fee. Yes, it's a one-time payment. The 1M basic is a $99 a month payment. The 1M premium is a one-time $1,000 a year payment. So the article that Maureen just shared, Bootstrapping to Exit, is what we discussed with Nandini earlier in the show. Lance, I think I've answered your question already. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? All right. We're going to adjourn then. I will see you not next week, but the week after, hopefully. And if you would like to pitch, please go to the website and register, and Maureen will get in touch with you with instructions. Thank you for coming today. Bye.